Right now I'm in Palm Harbor. Palm Harbor is really close to where I live, and I want to talk about 3 of the reasons why people love Palm Harbor. Here we go. I'm Sam, and thanks for coming by the Living in Tampa channel, where we make videos for you about living in the entire Tampa area. We are a team of realtors here, and we would love to hear from you. We'd love to be your real estate choice in the area if you're looking to buy or sell. Our phone number and email are right there on the screen and in the description down below. We really would just love to connect. I've talked about Palm Harbor in quite a few other videos. It is an area that we recommend very often and for very specific reasons. And those are the 3 reasons we're gonna talk about today. These are the 3 reasons why we end up recommending Palm Harbor over and over again. And let's get right into it. Palm Harbor, as you see here on the map, is North Pinellas County, north of Clearwater, north of Dunedin, and it's an area of about 60,000 people. So my wife grew up in Tarpon Springs, the town just north of Palm Harbor, and before we moved back here, I just thought of Palm Harbor the way she did, and she kind of just thought of it as boring suburbia. So when we moved back, I kind of just saw it that way for quite a while until I started to see so many clients and connect with so many of you that really liked this area. I think the name Palm Harbor doesn't really help. It sounds just like a marketing thing to like attract New Yorkers to move to this made up name of Palm Harbor. There's like a harbor, there's like harbor, that's not really the right word for it. There's marinas and there's water and things like that. But the reason number 1 why Palm Harbor gets recommended over and over again by us and by our team is the schools. So Palm Harbor University High is one of the top public schools in the area. You know, the baccalaureate program has all these kind of, pre-med kind of things. So if you're into like a really competitive school, you want that kind of experience for your kids, this is a really good option. And that's the public high school. There's, obviously private schools around too, kind of in and outside of the area, and that are really accessible. But middle school is really good. The elementary schools are good too. A lot of kids, especially if you live on the north side of Palm Harbor, you also have the option of going to Tarpon Fundamental Elementary, which is one of the really good elementary schools in the county. And then there's other school options. So there's a Montessori school, Palm Harbor Montessori, and then Tampa Waldorf is actually here in Palm Harbor. So it's the Tampa Waldorf, but it's here. So schools are a big deal to a lot of you. And kind of one of the things that goes along with an area that has really good schools is that it has this kind of neighborhood vibe, and this area does have that. And so this is still kind of the number 1 thing. It's the schools, and it's kind of this vibe that goes along with really good schools. A lot of affluent neighborhoods, a lot of different kinds of options, and really kind of a whole range of things, from small funky rent houses to mansions on the water. Not just the Gulf, but also lakes and ponds and things like that. There's a lot of Palm Harbor is over near Lake Tarpon, this giant lake that we've been talking about occasionally. Reason number 2 is Palm Harbor is kind of sleepy, and that kind of goes along with that same vibe. And all of this stuff is kind of similar because people are looking for very specific things, and it all kind of fits this puzzle for a certain kind of buyer. The way that Palm Harbor is sleepy, some people that live here even call it Sleepy Town Palm Harbor. And that's a really interesting quirk about Palm Harbor. It's not an area that draws a lot of people. It doesn't have a really famous beach like Clearwater. It doesn't have a big highway that goes through it other than like US 19. And it's mostly just a kind of a slower family area. Right now I'm at a restaurant called Ozona Blue, which is over connected to one of the marinas, and a really cool kind of on the water area in this like old village. The Ozona was an old village in the area that has kind of maintained its own quirky charm. But overall, Palm Harbor is just kind of a slow, sleepy town. Even though it is 60,000 people, it has the vibe of a smaller area. Now, it's not just suburban sprawl in this area. There is a cool old downtown with some fun breweries. There's a great trail that goes through the middle of town, the Pinellas Trail, and it has all the amenities that you want, but it does not have a Costco, a Trader Joe's, or a Whole Foods. So you've got to drive a little bit to each of those. Really, you've got to drive to Clearwater for the Costco and the Whole Foods, and for Trader Joe's, you really got to go into Tampa or into St. Pete. Typically, you would associate a sleepy Florida town with retirees, and that's where Palm Harbor, I think, is actually a little bit different. It's a lot more family focused than a lot of other sleepy towns. There are still retirees, there's still mobile home parks. Sometimes those mobile home parks are really nice. But overall, it's a sleepy town that feels like people are just living their lives. That's fun. All right, and finally, the last thing about Palm Harbor that makes it one of the top areas we recommend is the access. So the place on the map that Palm Harbor sits gives you really unique access to kind of everything. Everything feels like it's kind of an arm's reach away, whether that's the beach, it's downtown Dunedin, it's St. Petersburg, it's Tampa, it's the airport, it's, going to football games, hockey games, baseball games. It's all those things. Now, downtown St. Petersburg is probably the one that feels a little bit further, even than downtown Tampa, just because the drive is kind of a pain. You really want to avoid US 19 as much as you can, and maybe I feel scarred. I had that accident recently on US 19 where I was being a where I was being a distracted Florida driver. I was not looking at my phone, I was just a little out of it. But everyone's okay. So if you look at how the road comes into here, Tampa Road comes right into Palm Harbor. That connects you really easy to like the airport area, the West Shore area, which connects you onto all of these highways. US 19 goes north and south through here and gives you pretty easy north-south access. And then over to the west, you have alternate 19, which is an alternate state highway that still gets you north and south, but a little slower, quieter. And then these other north-south primary roads of like Omaha and Belcher that kind of get you up and down this whole town into Tarpon Springs or down into like Dunedin and then Clearwater. Because I live in Tarpon Springs and then often drive to Tampa, I'm often driving through Palm Harbor. And sometimes it would just be so nice to just be that extra 20 minutes out. And I think I would feel pretty comforted by that. Sometimes from my house, even to get to US 19 takes a good 15 minutes just getting through like all the stop signs and the local traffic and that kind of thing. So being that little extra distance, I think would be nice. So Palm Harbor, schools with that neighborhood vibe, sleepy kind of small town vibe, even though it's not a small town. And then lastly, access to all these parts of Tampa and the Tampa area, the beaches, all these kind of things that you want access to. Palm Harbor checks those boxes for a lot of people. And if you are interested in moving to Palm Harbor or any other area in the whole Tampa area, we want to hear from you. So don't forget to call, text, or email us anytime. And let's set up a Zoom call and let's kind of process what you're looking for and see how we can help. Thanks for coming by.